What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Elestrals, and today I think I have found my second favorite deck of the format. Obviously, number one is Bears, but the second one is Carryoff. This deck has truly stolen my heart after the ban list, and this is a deck that I played at the beginning of Firestorm, not in any premieres or anything, but I played this just for fun and like casuals and whatnot. This deck did have a really big hit to it with the banning or like the errataing of like a void and the limiting of hurricane. Went back to the drawing board, and I think we've made this deck even better than it ever was before. Obviously, like a void's a broken card, but this is an insane version of the deck, and I just got top 4 with it at the PNM that happened at the time of recording this today. Got top 4 undefeated in Swiss because no one knew what this deck does. Plays on a completely different access than anything else in Elestrals, and I'm going to show you like all the really cool things that you can do with this deck, especially paired with cards like Hermes Trickery. Starting things off, we have our Carryoff. We love the DX of 25, and we got 3 copies of Carryoff. We have to play 3. You want to draw this card. If you see this card, you should win the game. We'll talk about why in a second, but if you don't know what Carryoff does, Carryoff can expend 2 Lunar in order to target and take control of an opponent's Elestral until the end phase. Until the end phase hurts a lot. That means that you can't just permanently take stuff, but there's a lot of ways that we are going to abuse stealing our opponent's stuff. Also, when a Carry-On is destroyed by battle, you can special cast the Carryoff from your hand. We're not playing any of the OG Carry-On. OG Carry-On was pretty decent. I think I featured it in the other Carryoff profile I did for Moonrise, but new Carryoff in Firestorm takes this whole package to another level. And the reason why is whenever this is sent from your deck to the underworld with Hermes' effect, you can special cast it from your underworld with a wind that you pretty much use from the Hermes. What that means is that this is like an extender for you, but also if you hard draw this card, it's fine because you have a reason to hard draw it with your Carryoffs. There's lots of times where you just run this out, try to swing over whales, or like you crash into like calf metals, or you crash into whatever, and then boom, you get a Carryoff. Or your opponent swings into this, and now you have a Carryoff on your opponent's turn that you're going to use for your turn. And that is the most diabolical thing ever. Couple things that you can do with the stolen cards that you take. You can, for instance, ascend over the Elestrals that you take. You can use them to pay for runes. We'll talk about the runes that we play to pay and kill our opponent's Elestrals with. You can also Nexus with them if they're a Nexus user. I can't remember what round it was, but I Carryoff stole a Kinleo that had 2 spirits on it. Kinleo effect, Nexus off of it onto my Carryoff, pop your other Elestral you have on your field, and then use the last spirit to pay for a rune. It's insane. Or Carryoff, steal Spark It. Spark It effect, Nexus off of itself onto Ast Rabbit, trigger my rabbit. There's a ton of things that you can do with this card. So mainly used for, again, Ascensions, using their Nexus effects, or using it to pay for like your Ambrosias and other runes. I said that this is a champion of Hermes, so obviously we have to play our Hermes package. So we have 3 Spinef, and we're also maxing out on 3 copies of Hermes. You have to see these cards over the course of the game to really play. You can get away without seeing them for a little bit, but if you wait until the end game to see these, Hermes is so expensive that you probably won't be able to resolve the effects that you need to. But Spinef, again, searches for Hermes, but it also can disenchant a wind from itself in order to special ascend itself into a Spinosect from the deck. We're playing 2 copies of Spinosect. The combo that you're trying to resolve, especially going second, Spinef is a 1-card combo to get into Spinosect for a bounce. Spinosect, whenever it's cast, can return an Elestral to its opponent's hand non-target. It's like a Heliolith. I think that's the best descriptor for it. But Spinosect can also, when it's sent from the field or deck to your underworld, you can Nexus up to 2 wind. So what you do is, again, you go Spinef, search Hermes, you go for Hermes, dump Spinosect, Nexus one of the spirits from the Hermes onto the Spinef, disenchant, and then ascend into Spinosect from deck. Now, 5/7 stat line also is nothing to scoff at. The 7 defense walled a ton of people today. For whatever reason, 7 right now really is the number to beat. This was really nice. Also, they can't champion whale it, which is really nice. Loved these cards. There are some times that you're just going to play Spinosect control, and that's fine. Like, you're not going to see your Carryoffs. And That's okay. I think it's also worth noting too, with the Spinosect, this came up in my top 8 match, where if they out your Spinosect, you can still do the Nexus effect. So you can get in for like extra damage at the end of a turn if they out this by nexusing the remaining spirits you have from your Hermes onto something else you have on your board and push out extra damage when you ascend. The situation came up where I had like a Carryoff in hand. It might have even been this in hand. They outed my Spinosect with like a Zeus. They didn't have any back row. Cool. Spinosect, Nexus 2 to a Carry-On that I had on field. Ascend over the Carry-On. Now it has like 4 spirits on it and swing for game. That's the first time I've ever seen that effect of Spinosect come up, but it's nice to read every bit of text that is on your cards for those niche interactions. Other packages we're playing for consistency. We are playing a Tornadian package. I'm going to say it right now that these cards are not great. I think I only resolved Winjin twice blind. Most of the time you're calling Carryoff because Carryoff is the most bountiful card in your deck. You can also just call the names of cards that would win you the game on the spot. So like there's times that like you will have to call blind Ambro. You'll have to call blind Hermes because you need to get your engine online. But Tornadian, although a brick in this deck, is not. This deck is insane if you hard draw Tornadian. And honestly, I think I might even want to bump this up to 2 because of how strong this card is. Because we're doing the Hermes dump Carry-On, all of a sudden, every single one of your Ascensions is always online if you see Hermes. These all bridge together very, very well. There are certain cards that you're always trying to see off the Tornadian, which we'll talk about in a second. But Carry-On can represent Tornadian, Carryoff, or a hard-drawn Spinosect for removal. That's what bridges this whole deck together, are these 3 Ascensions that we're really maxing out on. I think I'm playing a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I'm playing 7 2-drops in this deck, which like is bricky, but you do want to draw these to pair along with your Hermes. So it can get bricky sometimes, but the second that you see a Hermes, you instantly draw out of it and you're good. So we're playing other consistency packages to, again, see Hermes as much as possible, and that's obviously Rabbit. You have to play Rabbit. We need to see Hermes as much as possible, and this will allow us to get to either our Spy Nymph or our Hermes package. And then last 2 flex spots, you notice all of our Elestrals are very tiny. We played 2 Galaxair. One of the issues I had in testing this deck was dealing with Astrabbits. Galaxair was supposed to fix that. Initially, this was a Specteris in the main, and I 100% agree that this should be Specteris. There were so many times that Specteris would have come up in the main deck, and I sided out of these all day. So this was a theory that wasn't tested at all, and I decided to run with it because it was really good in theory. I didn't have issues adding Astrabbits all day, so I really regret putting these in the main. Definitely put the 2 Specteris that are in the side into the main, and we'll talk about those when we get to that point. 3 Ambro, and then we're also playing 2 Divine Healing. I've never played this card in the main deck, ever. For the most part, this card is good, I think specifically for Aeolus and Hermes decks. I think they're the only 2 that can really justify playing this card. But the whole reason that these cards are super good, 1, they give you a ton of spirit advantage, and Divine Healing lets you activate your Hermes multiple times. If you're able to resolve Hermes like 3 to 5 times over the course of a game, there's absolutely no way that you're going to lose. Divine Healing lets you really abuse Hermes to its fullest potential, letting you send your Carryoff champ for Earthquakes, sending for Spinosect to do like Nexus shenanigans. The more Carry-Ons you get to send to the Underworld, the better, and Divine Healing lets you do that. And then also Ambro's nice. So Tornadian is trying to dig for these 2 cards specifically, and then any of the extra cards that we pair along with it. So this is a trickery deck, and this is the most busted card in the entire strategy. So let's talk about why. Let's talk about some really, really fun things you can do with trickery. The most busted part of this deck is with Carryoff. If you don't know what trickery does, trickery says it can only be played if Hermes is enchanted. So another reason we're trying to get to Hermes as quickly as possible. You can destroy an Elestral on your field. If you do, special cast another Elestral from your Underworld using only spirits that were enchanting the destroyed Elestral. What this means is that you can carry off, take your opponent's Elestral, and Trickery, pop the Elestral you took, revive something from your bin, and swing for more damage. So the ideal scenario is that, like, you go like Carryoff, steal like a Lavalith, and now you go battle. They have nothing on board. Swing 2, swing with 2 for the Lavalith, Trickery, pop the Lavalith, bring back anything from your bin, and get in for more damage. But it almost acted like Earthquake because obviously they're not getting the Lavalith back. There's also more cute things you can do with Trickery, where you can do, where is it? The Spinosect Shuffle, where you do the initial play with Spinimp to go into Spinosect. That also sets up another Spinosect in your Underworld. Because you're going to have the Hermes set up anyway, you're going to have the Hermes Spirit, Hermes Trickery, can then just bounce between the two Spinosects. So your initial Spinosect, boom, bounce the guy. They try to threaten the Spinosect with something else. Trickery, pop Spinosect, go into another Spinosect to bounce the other threat. Other cute things you can do with Trickery, obviously this can like dodge Earthquake, this can dodge Gorgons. So if you go like Carryoff, try to take your opponent's Elestral, they try to Gorgons this. Trickery, pop the Carryoff, bring something else back. They still had to pay for the Gorgons, and now you still get an additional body. The one ruling thing to keep in note with Trickery is that because you are casting an Elestral, you can't overpay. For instance, if I try to Trickery pop my Carryoff, right? I have 2 spirits on this Carryoff. I cannot use both of those spirits to float into like a Galaxair, right? I will have to choose one of those spirits to cast the Galaxair. That is like an unfortunate thing for this deck. Like, I stole a 4-spirit Arcolith today. I wanted so badly to be able to Trickery pop it and keep all 4 spirits from the Arcolith onto my field. But unfortunately, that's just not how that works. Trickery is the strongest card in the deck by far. Obviously, you still have to pair it along with your Hermes, but again, we're trying to see Hermes as much as possible anyway. This should be live more times than not. Other counter runes that we're playing, we're not playing like the typical suite. We're playing Altar, obviously triple Gorgons, and then we're on the 3 shield. Altar is one I kind of want to talk about a little bit. This card is like fine. It's not crazy in this deck. The initial theory behind it was back in Moonrise, this was one of the only ways that you could kill the Elestrals that you stole with Carryoff. So like I was still playing it. And now we have Trickery. So like Trickery is just way better to do the job than Altar is. But there's still other nice things you can do with this. Like instead of trying to do the full combo with your Spinymph into Spinosect, you can alter a Wind Spirit onto your Spinymph so that on the following turn you can disenchant from it to go into your Spinosect from deck, without using your normal cast or like your normal action for turn with like re-enchanting. There are some cute things with that. Re-triggering Windjin comes up a lot, especially if you whiff. There were a couple times I had to re-enchant Windjin with an altar to guarantee the hit to go into a Tornadin. So like this card has applications for sure. I think this card would also be better if I was playing Vis in the Galaxair slot, just because Vis and Altar is a deadly combination. So I think that there's some experimentation to be had as to what these 2 cards are supposed to be, whether they're Spectrus, whether they're Viscerus, whether they actually are Galaxairs, or if they're supposed to be Champ Whales. I think that these are like the most flexible spots in the deck. If you do like Champ Whale stuff too, you can Divine Healing, heal a water, put it onto your Hermes, and then you can alter trigger the whale on your opponent's turn too. There are some neat applications for this. I don't know if I'm going to continue playing Altar moving forward. This might just be Tsunami, but it was still a really cool card regardless. Spirit deck, it's actually not super tight. I think we're on 9 wind. Yeah, 9 wind, 6 Owloon, 2 Zaptors, 2 Taratlus, and 1 Luminate for the Tornadin. 2 Earth is more than enough because, again, all your Spinosects are being cast with the Earth that you already have from the Spinymph. So you should only need 2, maybe even 1 for like a Heart Ascend, and then 1 for a Spinymph. It may look like you need more than 2 Earth Spirits, but you actually don't. Side deck. Honestly, wasn't super proud of the side deck. Kind of threw this together the night before. But we're playing 1 Leviathan for 2 sided Tsunamis for the matchups that I thought would be particularly good into. 3 PTAs, 3 Specteris. Like I said, these should have made it into the main deck and not stayed in the side. Really glad I did side these because it came up a lot, especially even just as like a naturally good stat beater. And then the bear hate, we got 3 Pandora's Box, 2 Spoiled Fruit, and then I sided a second champ Carryoff. I don't know what this was actually going to be for, just in like matchups that I really needed it. I can't side Boom Bats super well in this deck, just because of like the way that the spirit math works. I thought that this would be a better option than the Boom Bats, even though this card is super expensive. So let's talk about how this deck performed. This deck performed really well, surprisingly well. And I think that there is some merit to this strategy. I think the biggest issue is that people had no idea what this deck did, so they misplayed into it, which led to some game wins that I don't think I was supposed to have. Couple things, just in case you do end up playing against other people that picked this deck up, because there were a lot of people that said this deck was really cool, so I think this might spread around a little bit. Pandora's Box hurts this deck so bad. Hermes doesn't just send from deck to underworld, it searches and then sends. So you can Pandora's Box the effect, which really hurts. I think there was, I can't remember what round of Swiss it was, but they Pandora's Boxed me 3 times and Gorgons my Spine Nymph, and I'm like, I can't do anything. Like, my whole deck is offline because I can't resolve this Hermes. I don't know if everybody was on Pandora's Box in their sides, but if they were, they should have brought them in. And then also, you should be Gorgonsing the Spine Nymph as soon as you possibly can. You can't let this resolve. Don't wait for it to do the Spinosect effect. Just keep me from getting Hermes altogether. You can't afford for me to have the Divine. So make sure that you Gorgons this. Stop this at any means necessary. Make sure this does not resolve. Carryoff, super, super strong deck. Very fun. And if you're looking to pick up something on a completely different axis than the rest of the Elestrals metagame, then definitely pick this up. Take it to your locals. Maybe take it to the premiere next week. This is, again, like I said, some of the most fun that I've had playing Elestrals is with this deck specifically. Try it out for yourself and see if you can make any innovations to the deck to make it even more powerful than it already is. And I'm really hoping we get some Hermes support that makes this deck go over the top in live stream, but we'll just have to wait and see. With that being said, thank you for watching the profile. Can I get a Carryoff sweep in the comments down below if you made it this far? And I will catch you in other tournament profiles coming very soon.